Man, oh man, oh man. It's your boy Jonathan Whitfield, man. But I gotta come back at you with another video. Today I'm just get right into it, man. I'm really tired of this disrespect of Tupac, by these artists today, these new artists that's born in like the early '90s, oh, I mean late '90s and stuff like that, even the 2000s. That's ridiculous. Lil Xan, Lil Pump. I think Lil Pump said something. Just a lot of them guys, man. They have no respect for the culture, and a lot of people say, well, they young and they wasn't born during that time. You can't expect them to respect. Well, let's stop this right there. Let's stop that right there, because only in our culture that we allow disrespect of those who came before us, right? Only in our culture we allow disrespect of our elders, our ancestors. You're not gonna go in country music and do that. You're not. It's not going down that way. It's not going down country music, rock. You're not any white genre, even any genre in the culture, other culture. You're not gonna go in and disrespect their legends. I never heard really strong disrespect of Elvis. I mean, I heard a lot of truth talk of Elvis, like how he stole culture and stuff like that. But that's normal, you know. But you're not gonna have new artists coming in and saying, "Oh, I don't care nothing about Elvis. I don't care nothing about so and so." They're not gonna do it. It's unheard of because they be got up out of here. They're gonna get them up out of here. They ain't gonna throw them in the bushes. You know, but only we allow these new artists to come in. These white rappers, man. I'm just saying, yo, these white rappers who they don't respect the culture. They don't respect the history. They just see rapping, gang banging, and they think they want to do it. So they make catchy tunes sometimes. They get to say what they want to say. So when they get interviewed, they got no respect for the legends. Tupac, Biggie, all them boy, KRS One. Like the conscious rappers. And Tupac wasn't necessarily a conscious rapper, so to speak, but he was. I don't know, his shirt is messing up. But um, Tupac is the greatest to ever do it, man. A lot of these rappers today would not be here, or they wouldn't be in the game if Tupac was still alive. And a lot of them even wouldn't have the opportunity that they have today if Tupac didn't pave the way. You know, Tupac was one of the first rappers to start talking about, well, not start talking about street stuff, but he was one of the first rappers to really speak for the streets and revolution at the same time. I mean, other rappers did it, but he the one really took on the charge, right? Because his background is in the Black Panthers, right? His mother was a Black Panther, his father was in Black Panther, you know. And so he said on many interviews, well, not many interviews, but he said on a couple of interviews that he takes how he gets his lyrics, he takes his experience from the street and his growing up in the Panther movement and mix them together, and that's how you get Thug Life, right? So he says Thug Life is really it mirrors the Black Panther Party, like self determination, doing for self, providing for your community, protecting community, protecting your women, you know, those are the things he rap about in his lyrics. And so when we get these new rappers coming saying that Tupac is boring, or they are better than Tupac, I'm gonna do some reaction videos on some of these rappers. I'm gonna look at some of these videos, some of the most popular songs, and I never heard them before. And I'm just give you my honest reaction. I was born I'm 85. I'm 32 years old, right? I'm an 80s baby, 80s babies, 80s baby, and 90s kid, right? So when Tupac passed away, I think I was in the sixth grade, right? So I remember a lot of the controversy that was going on. I don't remember it heavy because I grew up in the church, man. My parents, they're like pastors and stuff like that. So a lot of the hip hop was blocked from my house, but I still got it, and I still, but only the best and some of the most talked about figures, penetrated through the house, and Tupac was one of them. And I remember for a long time I had a negative view of Tupac because I didn't know. Like I said, I grew up in the church and stuff like that. So anything that had any cussing in it, it was just seen as wrong and devil. So I didn't really understand his message. But at the same time, the spirit of Tupac always resonated with me for some reason, you know. And I was being fed what the media was portraying of Tupac growing up. So I thought he was bad, but for some reason I thought he was bad, like a bad guy. But that's what they were telling me. I thought that because they were telling me that, and then I couldn't really research it. Like it wasn't really no YouTube or nothing like back then. So you only get what you see on TV, and you hear stuff. But at the same time, even though I thought he was bad, like my spirit was telling me something different, and I always had this, like it was something different about Tupac, right? It was something in my spirit. It was something that just wouldn't let me write him off, And so a little bit later in life, well, I'll get to that in a minute. So I remember to hit him up, because you go to school and you hear stuff. I remember California Love when it first came out. It shattered the world, and these records were big time. Because if they got to my house, they were big time. We had a fortress of our house, growing up in the church and stuff like that. And I'm a minister, by the way. And I love hip hop. And so if it penetrated that deep, it was something. And so I remember him. I said, it had BT, back then you had BT, MTV. So I just look at those things and it'd be on the TV and stuff like that, in school. And I remember those when California Love came out, because Tupac had just got out of jail. It turned the world upside down because it was just so dynamic. Out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Come on, man. Like, he was talking so much junk. And Tupac, the figure he is, though, he was a revolutionary and a poet and an actress. He spoke for the street. That's why Tupac is so dynamic. There's not many rappers that speak for the streets, and really trying to create revolution, right? Tupac is a religious figure almost. He's a hip hop royalty, and a lot of these mainstream publications, they don't like to give Tupac his just due, right? They don't like to do that, and I think it's just because he was a black man. He's a revolution. Even when he was rapping about crap, his lyrics and he still had a message in what he was doing. He had a reason for what he was doing, for what he was rapping about. He wasn't just rapping. Even when he was just free. Sitting around shooting the breeze with some of the homeboys, and he was freestyling. He still had a message in his freestyle. Go look at that freestyle with him and Biggie when they were sitting on a chair side by side. When he would just talk about, he was talking about money and drugs and stuff like that. But see, when Tupac talks about money and drugs, 90% of the time, he's talking about how it's in the street, how he had to live it. He's not really glorifying it. What I'm saying? He's saying he's spitting a message. But 90% of his stuff, man, is talking about something. He's trying to uplift the people. If you don't know about Tupac, go look at his interviews. Type in Tupac interview, and you will get so much knowledge from his interviews, man. So much from his interviews. He talked about how he grew up, how he feels about things. It ain't many people do that, man. Not no rappers. Ain't no rapper gonna take on the torch like Tupac did, because he said in his record he's the last of a dying breed. And no, Tupac wasn't perfect. Nobody's perfect. But that's the good thing about him. He said he wasn't perfect, right? He said he's just trying to speak for the street. And he always talked about the young black male. He talked about his upbringing, talked about his mom. One of the most powerful lines from Tupac is in Dear Mama. He said, "Even as a crack fiend, mama, you always was a black queen, mama." That's hard. Even as a crack fiend, you always was a black queen. That's so dynamic because, sometimes you see your mother. Sometimes you see our mothers go through things, right? Especially as a black man, you see your mother go through things. She had to provide. She had to do this. She had to do that. And she had, like every human being, she had low points. But in her low point, he still recognized her humanity and her queendom. Her womanhood. He still recognized that. So his message was like, no matter how low you get, you still a queen. Some say the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. I say the darker the flesh, the deeper the roots. Come on, man. He always uplifting the people, man. Uplifting the women. Brenda's Got a Baby, Dear Mama. Hot 97, the radio station in New York. They hate on Tupac a lot. They give him his credit, but they try to downplay him a lot, right? Recently they said people in New York really didn't listen to Tupac until All Eyes on Me. That was one of his last albums before he passed away with Death Row. And that was in 1996. But my thing is, that don't make no sense because Tupac was all over radio stations in New York during the 90s. He was all over the TV during the 90s, the early 90s. And his album, Me Against the World, right? When that album came out, it was the first album ever. He was the first person ever to go platinum or had a number one record in the country. I ain't talking about just hip hop of all genres while being in jail, in prison. He was in prison. His record was outside number one. Nobody had ever done it. So if you number one, you number one on everything, all genres. So they gonna play your record regardless. They gonna play your stuff regardless on loop. Cause that's how it goes. Whatever number one, especially with hip hop. So they lying, man. They just trying to downplay it like people in New York weren't rocking when they were, and they should be ashamed of that. But anyway, these new rappers, they needed when T.I. Waka Flocka said that they need to be banned from hip hop. They do, because these rappers don't talk about nothing. A lot of them don't talk about nothing today, man. Sometimes they make some catchy tunes, but they mumble. They have no message behind what they're rapping about. You know, not all of them, but majority of them. And it's sad. I don't even listen to it no more, man. I listen to a lot of the old stuff. Some of my favorite rappers today that's alive today, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. I like Drake, Common. Right now, Common and Nipsey Hussle are my favorite rappers today. Now, my favorite rapper of all time is Tupac. But I'm talking about that's alive today, still spitting it. But those guys are great, man. I like, what's the dude name? Big Crit. You know, it's a few of them out there. It's a few more guys that's slipping my mind right now. But yeah, man, this disrespect of Tupac has to go. It's ridiculous, man. Because we don't teach the young guys the culture where hip hop came from. See, hip hop is the language of the revolution, man. That's how hip hop started. Because you got black people being oppressed and suppressed. So what we gonna do? We always been good orators as black people, melanated people, African Americans. We even go back to in Africa, pre-colonization, we had the griot. You know what I'm saying? The griot is like pretty much the the oldest person in the village or whatever, or in the community. And sometimes he'd be the preacher or he'd be the spiritual leader. They didn't call preachers back then. He the spiritual leader? And he spoke for the people. He's wordsman. You know what I'm saying? So we always had that spirit with us. We look at any time you hear black people speak, when they speak with passion, it comes out. That's who we are. So hip hop started from being oppressed and suppressed, and it's a revolutionary art form. You know? And yes, hip hop has lost its way. But that's what hip hop is. And there's still a lot of people speak like that today. You know? And Tupac was the main one. It's hard to get that mix, man. You got growing up with the Black Panthers like that, and coming up through the street and having that message. That message is very dangerous to the status quo, because it wakes people up. Tupac was always talking about uniting the people. Always talking about getting money together. And he was trying. He's only one man. He was trying to do it. Yes, he had faults like we all do, right? But Tupac was the realest, man. And I want y'all to really go check out some of his videos and interviews. You know, it's gonna change. You're gonna learn a lot. Ain't no rappers today talking like that. What Tupac was talking about, and him being so young. Imagine if he wouldn't have died. The things he could have done. And see, people like to compare Tupac to Biggie a lot, and I like Biggie too. I think it was dope. But I honestly, them two shouldn't even be compared. Biggie was no way near with Tupac, and he was a great rapper, now, a great lyricist. He had a lot of flow, but he was nowhere near where Tupac was. Nowhere. They shouldn't even be compared. The only reason why people compare them because they had this beef going on, and Tupac died in the midst of that beef. He was killed. He was murdered in the midst of that beef. So, that's gonna always be the reason, people compare. But he shouldn't even be compared. Big was nowhere near Tupac, man. If anybody, in my opinion, if anybody was close to Tupac, I would say DMX. Right? DMX was like this. He's one of the second. He probably like the second realest rapper of all time. Tupac the first realest. Not Biggie. DMX the second realest. Go back and listen to some of DMX's old stuff, man. How he came to the game, how he approached it, just raw passion. He lost his way too, but it happens with young black men, man. Sometimes you don't have that. And Tupac talked about it. Sometimes you don't have that guidance. He said in an interview, he said, "Listen to me when I talk. You can tell that I didn't have a father in my life. You can tell that I wasn't educated in certain things. You can tell when you listen at me. He's like, I'm not in control of what every black male does, but I understand I have a responsibility. Tupac telling how it is, man. But these little Xans and this and that, especially the white rappers, man, they got to go. because they don't respect the culture. And then we have allowed them to do that. We stamping all these little rappers and stuff like that, and giving them the game, and they go parlay it and make something happen. And it's cultural appropriation. But is it really cultural appropriation if we give it to them? Right? It's crazy, man. But they got to go. Well, they got to respect the game, man. Respect the pioneers of hip hop. Some of the founding fathers, man, and just the legends in the game. We shouldn't let a lot of people to disrespect our culture like that. Because Tupac, like I said, he's a religious figure at this point. At this point, he is, man. He's been studying college courses and stuff like that. He's the realest, and he spoke for the people. Spoke for black men, black women. He was just revolutionary. He called out this country. He wasn't. I know why. I think who that was? YG made a song called "F Donald Trump." Tupac been doing stuff like that. When he first talking about the president and stuff like that, he been doing that stuff back in the day too. A lot of stuff you see these rappers doing now, Tupac started those things. He started the West Side thing. He started that. People start saying "yay, yay, baby." Tupac did that. He pioneered that. They don't give him credit for it. Tupac was the first person to do the double album. I think it was All Eyes on Me, I believe. He was the first person to do that. He was the first person talking about revolution on CDs. Well, he got the credit for it. He was one of the first to really try to talk about revolution, man. He wasn't afraid to talk about how black he was. I'm talking on the inside. Just his culture, his people. On interviews, he's not afraid to say it. These rappers ain't trying to unite like that today. They all about drugs, money. It's killing the imagination of the youth, and it's sad. People say don't let the youth do what they do. No, somebody it's some long way. You gotta guide people. That's what we mess up in our culture. Oh man, let the young be young, man. They gonna make mistakes. Nah, man, just don't hate on anyone. No, we gotta stop that, man. Because you look at other cultures. I can't get the shirt right. You look at other cultures. They guide their youth and they discipline them. That's what they do. They say you're not gonna do this. You're gonna do this. But this is the way to go. They do that, and you rarely see them messing up. You might see one or two here and there. Because the deception is what's the word? It's deception to everything, right? But when it comes to us, oh man, just let it. You gotta let it. No, man. We gotta have some type of code, and talk about that, man. He talk about having codes. He's talking about how he was the first person to really try to unite the gangs on the outside and the gangs in prison to have some type of code. He said I can't stop all this stuff going on, but we can try to create some rules and some codes to this thing. So we was like, it gotta be consequences. Like, you're not gonna sell drugs at this certain time. You're not gonna sell around schools, around kids, around mothers. You're not gonna gang bang. And if you break the rules, then you got to deal with the consequences. That's how it should be. The mob do it, right? Other cultures do it. You disrespect the culture, you disrespect the game or whatever. You got to deal with the consequences of other people, and whatever those consequences may be. But it creates respect. That's the thing. He talked about how they break those codes and they go to prison or something. They got to deal with the people on the inside. Kind of like how when you hear about child rapists, we don't know for sure, but we've heard the stories when a child rapist goes to prison, they get dealt with. We heard these stories. He was talking about the same thing. Nobody has a problem with that. But Tupac's the greatest of all time, man. The greatest rapper to ever live, just by who he was and what he meant to the culture. He was sent by God, man. I put him up there with Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Maybe not all the way, but very close. Very, very, very close. He's a prophet for the people, man. He was. I would say he was our day, a modern day Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. And what more potent person to have, or revolutionary figure to have than Tupac, a person that's from the street. He ain't from the church. He ain't from no religious organization. He's from the street, but spitting facts like Martin Luther King, spitting facts like Malcolm X, and he got that voice in the ears of the youth. You know how dangerous that is. That's why they had to. That's why they had to do away with him. The government was involved in that, man. You know, I don't want to put on my tinfoil hat and start talking conspiracy, man. But we know. But anyway, this is my rant for today, man. Like the Tupac, my guy, study this man. Look at his interviews. Just go type in YouTube Tupac interview and just listen. And go to it's a dude named J Mix on YouTube. Go to his channel, J Mix, Tupac J Mix or something like that, and just scroll down his page and listen to the artist that was on Death Row and before Death Row with Tupac and how they talk about how Tupac was a workaholic. They talked about his character, and they had these people who were with Tupac on a daily basis, producers, musicians. They talked about how he, and Tupac was one of the first artists to put out so much music like that, to be in the studio all day and night. They say he can, when it used to take artists 2-3 weeks to get one song together, he can do it within a day, within an hour sometimes. And that's why so much music came out on Death Row, right? Cause he'll go in the studio, he'll have a song in his head, write it down, boom, lay the track. You know, he say, look, lay the beat, lay the foundation, put the chords together, let's do this. On to the next song. On to the next. He was a machine, man. You know? And nobody greater. It's so much. He influenced the game so much. And the way he hugged the beat, I think on California Love, when his verse come in, he hug and ride that beat so smooth, yo, for real. Just go back and listen to California Love when he comes in, how he just hugs and ride the beat. It's crazy the flow he had. It was almost genius, man. Spiritual, because music is just music. Because I play 2 musical instruments. You see the trombone back there. I play 3 music: trombone, baritone, tuba. So you can't just play music. You got to feel music. You got to be music. You got to live. You got to eat, sleep, and breathe music. And he was a genius at doing that. The way he hugged the beat, the way he flowed with it, the way he took breaks and pauses. It's crazy, man. And the message, man, it's the message. The message. It was potent. It goes straight to your soul. And these people, these rappers talking they better than Tupac. Tupac wasn't this and wasn't that. They need to be slapped. With truth. It's disrespect, man. Like I said, man. Say about Tupac, man. For real. For real. So, like I said, man, when he died, it was kind of crazy when, I was, like I said, I was in 6th grade. It shook the world. I remember that. I couldn't believe it. But I wasn't really up on him like then, like I said, but it shook the world, man. I remember more than anything then. I kind of came up on Cash Money. That's when I really came into a little more knowledge. Like the early Hot Boy days, they were kind of like my idols and stuff like that. Because I was a little bit older, and they was really bringing it. But even then, they got a lot of influence from Death Row. Look at Master P. Master P toured with Death Row and Tupac them for a long time before he came out with No Limit Records. When Tupac talk about is there a heaven for a G? Is there a heaven for a ghetto? Is there a ghetto in heaven? He always talked about that, right? And if you listen to Master P, Master P got songs where it's talking about is there a heaven for a G? Is there a heaven for a thug? He got influence from Tupac. Ja Rule, we got an influence from Tupac. A lot of these rappers today got the influence from Tupac, and they don't even know it. Tupac, he introduced a lot of stuff to the game, to the culture. It would have been like 25 years, and we still talking about Tupac as if he passed away last week. That lets you know the power that he had. Because his lyrics, they stand the test of time. And I think he's been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a couple years ago. That's big. That's huge. There'll never be another Tupac, man. But we got to start letting people disrespect our legends like that. Sometimes they say everybody's entitled to their opinion, but don't let your opinion get you messed up, man. People take this stuff serious. But yeah, that's the end of my rant, man. Go check out your boy, Tupac. Go check out his interviews. Just listen. Learn. Holla at your boy.